standing here by myself. I will lead my fellow executive members to be here, please. Can I have the Vice President, Mr. Paul Awusa? Can you come over, sir? And we also have here the Secretary of our great association, Okakuru, Dr. Felix Open, please. We have here the Treasurer of our association, Ms. Fanti Riebel. Please come. I'm looking around as they come. I'm sorry we're starting a little later than we scheduled to start. We about 39 minutes to 9. But we're gonna, jumpstart this general meeting momentarily. One, because we have to get the financial secretary to do his presentation right after we get this session opened. Without further ado, I am going to crave your indulgence, Urhobo Dr. Dixon Oyori, who is the Provost of College of Education, Warri, and who is also going to be delivering the keynote address today. One, because Father Baka is not able to be here as we speak. If he gets here tomorrow or so, we'll work with him, but for now, Dr. Dixon Oyori will be giving us a little bit talk on our theme, which is the United Urhobo, and the sub-theme being achievable task, which means all of us will have to work on it. Dr. Urhobo, Dr. Dixon, can you please open with a prayer, an opening prayer for us? Thank you very much.
Oh God, our Father, you brought us here today for a purpose. You have led many here and many are still on the way for this year annual Urhobo Festival. Heavenly Father, the desire of everybody here today, I pray that you come to make it come to pass in the name of Jesus. Oh Lord, you desire that your children be united. Let this unity be our portion. On this note, we invite you to be with us in the deliberations today. So at the end of it all, we have more cause to glorify your name. These are many more we ask through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Amen. I am not going to be standing here by myself. I will lead my fellow executive members to be here, please. Can I have the Vice President, Mr. Paul Ausa? Can you come over, sir? And we also have here the Secretary of our great association, Okakuru, Dr. Felix Owen, please. We have here the Treasurer of our association, Ms. Fanti Weber. Please come. I'm looking around. As they come, I will introduce everybody to join so we can rub minds while we are up here and share with you our real leaders, because you're the ones we're working for. So we'll share with you whatever we come up with here each and every time as the program progresses. Thank you very much. So we're going to have the Financial Secretary, Professor Michael Wajiali, begin the process. Thank you, sir.
Hello. My wife wanted me to start this presentation by apologizing that I'm not wearing the native attire this morning. That was because I really need to head off back to Orlando from here. So again, so forgive my not being in the full regalia. It is my honor and pleasure to be able to present what I consider the last financial report of this administration that spanned from 2018 to this point in time. I was hoping we have a projector, but I do think each table has some copies. I will email the slides to the BOT, and I really encourage that the presidents of each chapter circulate these reports to their members. Because, just from a background, some of the challenges we've had, whether from a legal aspect or whatever that has gone on in the last 2 years, some of them have been tied around what, at least from my vantage position, I consider misinformation. So I really want to ask the president to please provide these reports and records to their members. At the end of the slide, I did put an email address here. If if anybody has questions, do feel free to email your questions to that address, and I promise I will provide you answers. Okay? So it's important because we don't have a majority of our folks here right now. Okay? All right. I will go as fast as I can. I will answer questions, but I really want to crave everybody's indulgence. I'm looking at my body time. I want to not miss my flight. I have a presentation to do this evening in Atlanta. So, what I did here, for those of us who are in the profession, please note, in me presenting the financials, they are not in a very professional accounting form, and that is intentional and deliberate, because I want it to be clearly understood. So I am presenting the report in a way that non-accountants can be able to comprehend and appreciate these numbers. Okay? So please bear with me on it. So the period covered by this report are for the 8 months of this year, 2022, and the previous 4 years from January 1st, 2018 through to December 31st, 2021. Those are the 4 years, and this year is not ended, but this administration will also send to the BOT our final scorecard when this year is over, this administration is over. Okay. So for those of you who have the slide, if you look at the third slide, that's where I started from, which is titled the Statement of Financial Position. Just on a point of explanation, it's called a Statement of Financial Position for a non-profit. In a for-profit, that would be a typical balance sheet. Okay? And so it's just a technical word. What I did was to try to make the first column be this current year, which is the 8 months from January to August 31st, 2022. And then as you move to the right, 2021, 2020, 2019 to 2018. Now, the statement of financial position, we really have nothing else other than our bank accounts. Okay? So if you're looking at the statement of financial position, you will notice and see as at August 31st, 2022, we have a total of $157,817 in the bank as at the end of last month, August. And you can see what those numbers are for the preceding years. The year ended 2021, we ended up with $190,412. The year ended 2020, we ended up with $170,918. The year ended 2019, we ended up with $160,410. And 2018, 176,111. For 3 years, spanning 2019 to 2021, we did have what we call a prepaid expense or a deposit, because we made a deposit of $18,000 to this hotel in anticipation that we were going to host the 2020 convention here. COVID came, and so that money remained in our books for 3 years. But if you notice that in January to August 2022, there is no more prepaid expense because we've moved that $18,000 out of our books as an asset, and we've moved it now to the income statement or the statement of activity. So that's pretty much our balance sheet for the last 4 years and 8 months. Again, irrespective of which side you may belong, I truly want to ask and encourage every one of the presidents. Provide the information to your members. Let them make their decisions. Let them ask questions. Let's be who most of us are, men and women who can make decisions based on well-informed data that is provided. I've been a successful CPA practitioner in this country for 15 years plus now. And it's not a very encouraging thing, some of the stories that were flying all over the place. Okay? We want good people to continue to serve this world. We really do. Say good evil try when good men do nothing. So let's not allow people to be discouraged from continuing to serve because of their names being smeared. I have been the financial secretary for this time, and I'm yet to see any incidents of fraud, embezzlement, or abuse of funds. The next slide, all I did there was to kind of put in a graphical form what our bank balances have been for the last 4 years and 18 months. It's interesting to see how the association funds have slightly continued to increase, and I will get to why 2022 was depleted, which is primarily because the body has been involved in legal battles for me just to save our unity and our existence. But for this whole legal issue, 2022 as of today would have even been higher than where we ended 2021. So I'll move on to the next slide, which I call the summary statement of activities. Let me know if you are there, because I do want to be able to make sure for those of you taking the time to be here, you are able to understand the figures. And if you have questions, you can be able to ask. So, are we all there? All right. Again, the statements of activities covered the 4 years and 8 months ended last month, August. And what I did here was I summarized all of the details you will see in the later slide here for simplicity. All of our cash receipts come from primarily a few sources: membership dues, convention revenue, the life insurance premium, and in some earlier years we had some other income which I'll explain. If you look at the history of the membership dues, it has grown significantly from 2019 to a higher number. 2018 was 23,889, 2019 was 23,747, but 2020 jumped by almost 7,000 to 30,480. 2021, in spite of all of the legal fights and COVID, 2021 ended up at 32,929. We've been down, and I'm hoping that between now and the end of this year, we should be able to get it back to the 32,000 that we ended up in 2021. Now for convention, you can see the history here. For 2020, we had no convention, so even though there's 1,220 that was shown there, that was really monies that were owed from the 2019 convention that people paid in 2020. 2021, we had no convention registration revenues, okay? But 2021 was an interesting year in my opinion because we literally had no convention expense, but we were able to get 26,801 from the convention that was done virtually. That was a huge lesson to me because we were able to rake in about $11,960 from donations that were done virtually. So I'm really hoping that on Sunday, which is tomorrow, we can really get everybody that is online to be able to donate, because last year was interesting. We hope to really be able to beat this number, because everything you see on the donation here last year, it came from everybody on the Zoom platform, just making pledges, and most of those pledges were even paid that day, right? So I don't know who is our MC tomorrow, but whatever they need to do, I know we want to party, but please, it's really important that we get in the money to make the association move forward. All right? So that's all of our receipts from convention revenue. This year, our convention revenue is going to be slightly lower than what it has been historically, because literally the executive had only 4 weeks to put this convention together. I must say I'm impressed, not because I'm not part of the team, but I was saying to the Vice President this morning, this is miracle you all did in 4 weeks. A convention is always the easiest thing to plan. The other line of income there is the insurance, life insurance pass-through. I call that pass-through just because it comes in and we literally just pass it on to Colonial Life Insurance. So we are not making any money off that. It comes in. In fact, the association takes on the money. If you add up all of the insurance premium pass-through line on the details line to what we pass through to the Colonial, it's just a wash. The last line you see here is other income. The only major other income we had was in 2018 when people paid through the association for the wrapper that was done for that particular 2050 anniversary. Okay, so that's that 21,741 you see here. The $474 for 2019 was a combination of something that I think I may want to just reclassify. It was mainly money that were donated or given as offering at the convention in the church service. That's that $474 as you see there. All right, so let's go down to the convention expense. If you look at the convention expense, each year the convention has brought in monies over and above what it costs to do the convention. 2018 total expenses was 72,000 compared to 81. 2019 was almost a wash. 2020 was also close to a wash. 2021 was a miracle year, which I really liked. We brought in 26,000. The only expenses of that convention was 9,980. This year, as at when we prepared this report, our total convention revenue was standing at close to 20,000, and total expenses we've already paid out 49,000. So that's why again I'm encouraging and really asking that let's really get people to donate, not only those who are here, but those who will be online, because we like to be able to end this administration at a higher level in terms of the asset independent compared to where the association started with this administration. Program expenses. What is included in the program expense is all of the monies involved in the language program, the medical fair that is done annually in Nigeria, the boreholes that we used to maintain, and some of the donations to other chapters who are either doing some fundraising or doing one thing or the other, and the national gives its support. So like I was explaining in the joint BOT meeting yesterday with the executive committee, when you look at the administration, because let's kind of zoom out from all the talk, okay? Take a look at the convention revenue. You are going to find the convention self-pays for itself. The membership dues literally is what the association spends on executing its program activities. So if you're looking at it even from a point of, is this association living up to the ideas of why it was put into existence? You bring in 23,000 in 1 year, and you've been able to put in 50,000 that same year into program expenses. Then that means the association and its members are putting in more money in giving out to the cause that is charitable. So I was trying to explain this yesterday and say, let's look at these figures. I really want anybody to be able to send us an email and say, explain this, and we'll be glad to. The association has not, in this administration, been in any way frivolous or abusive of funds. Because if you look at the administrative expense line, right, you will see all that the administration has spent in terms of operating the organization. In 2018, it was $6,083. In 2019, it was only $1,200, right? 2020, $9,808. 2021, $3,194. And this year, 2022, $7,178. Zoom out and say, where is the noise all coming from? Right? Every money that the association brings in literally goes to really executing on the program activities of this association. Now, if you're looking at the expenses, 2022, of course, unfortunately, has been the most challenging year because we've spent a significant amount of the funds of this association on legal fees. So here you see 2020 we have legal fees 40,250. In 2021, 4,576. In 2020, 7,466. So between 2020 to date, the association has spent close to 52,000 just trying to keep its acts together. It's not a very exciting situation. So if you're looking at January to August this year, we are right now in the negative. That negative of 50,595. The biggest chunk of it is directly tied to the $40,250 we paid for our legal expense. Okay? Again, the next slide is just a graphical depiction of the various sources of funds in each of the years. Okay? That's just to keep our brains from getting tired from looking at figures. I'll move on faster. Now, I will spend any time on this next slide, which is the 5-year statement of activity. But this is a more detailed slide. What you're looking at on this 5-year statement of activity, it's the details that I summarized in the earlier slide. Some people like to see the figures differently. I like to drill both from the top and from the bottom. Some board of directors like to look at top numbers. Some people want to see all of the details. So you will see on this 5-year statement of activity the breakdown of, okay, where did the money come from that I was talking about from a convention revenue standpoint? What did we spend the convention money on in terms of expenses? And what are the program expenses that I was referring to when I said the association has put most of its funds into program activities? And then you can see a breakdown of the administrative expenses here. And I was explaining yesterday to the joint BOT and executive committee meeting. I said the biggest piece of our administrative expense literally was to cover the trip of the president and the Secretary General on what is already in our budget for their once-a-year travel. I think for the president is twice a year. She goes for the Urhobo Day, she goes for the medical program.
No, once a year.
Once a year.
When I go for the other ones, I pay myself.
Okay. So, because if you look at those details, what you see is that of the total 27,000 that have been spent in 4 or 5 years, 17,000 went into travels. So, Phyllis and I, the Secretary, we were on the same flight back from Nigeria a couple of weeks ago. That ticket doesn't cost the $2,000 of his budget. Okay, I fly business class and I met him there. So my point is, a lot of people who serve literally pay their way through to keep this organization going. I don't know what the subsequent administration will be doing, but I want to actually encourage that in the future, members who serve should actually be turning over their costs of running their offices. Because I think right now, the association is not truly getting a good picture of what it takes to run the board. I'll give an example with myself. My office has maintained this QuickBooks file for the association, and it costs at least $48 a month to pay for that subscription. So that's like $700 a year. If you multiply that by 5, that's like $3,600. It's not showing here on this. I'm going to end my administration as the financial secretary by the end of this year. Somebody hopefully is going to take on this record, because everything I'm showing today, they are on an accounting software. So whoever takes over as the financial secretary is going to have a 5-year history he or she can look into. The association is then going to be responsible for paying that monthly subscription. And it's the same thing for most of the other officers. Okay? So there's a whole lot that the monies to run the association is not reflected in our finances. So that's why I said, let's give correct information out there so that good people can continue to be encouraged to serve this body. Otherwise, we'll be faced with the situation we're dealing with in Nigeria today, where when democracy came up, the good people were afraid to come up. It's almost too late now. People who have entrenched themselves here have no integrity. So the details of the last 5 years is what you see here, and please feel free to ask questions on any of them. On the dues and subscription, most of those monies are in relation to our Zoom, post office box, and a few other items. And I have all of those details, and the treasurer has receipts where needed. Again, the next slide is just pictures. I like people's brain not to be tired, pictures to be boring.
Question.
Yes, please.
Before you go further, it seems to me that it becomes implicit now that the next Secretary General has to have a qualification minimum of how to do this program, QuickBooks.
Oh, the financial secretary?
Yes, has to have that knowledge to be able to continue where you are.
I think the association has been lucky, even before my tenure, to have people who had the knowledge to do that. Others before me was also a professional colleague. So I'm hoping whoever steps in should, they don't need to be a CPA to do this. Okay, that's the truth. To do a QuickBooks file, you don't need to be a CPA, but having a basic understanding of accounting is...
Becomes an implicit qualification to run for that position.
That will be for whoever the next president is to choose their financial secretary carefully. Because the association, from just watching from the side all of the legal battles that have gone on in the last 3 years, it's important that I hear the beauty chair, who used to be my professor in the university, talk about fiduciary duties. Yeah, he was my teacher in the university way back. My God, we are really good. It's like 10-something years ago. I hear you talk about financial duty a lot these days. So whoever comes in needs to, yes, of necessity, make sure they bring in somebody who can operate it. Because it will be not a healthy thing to go back to spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. I mean, whoever comes in is going to have all of this. Nothing is going to be changed. All I will be doing is I want to make sure I print out my final numbers and keep them on icons. So if something is changed, I can say this is my final numbers. Okay. All right. Any questions? I think I'm pretty much done. I'm going to the last page, which I just called the administration's financial scorecard. Now, what I did there was to just clearly state this administration started with $152,235 in the bank. Year over year, that amount of money has grown. So by the end of 2018, it grew by 15%. By the end of 2019, it grew marginally by only 1%. By the end of 2020, it grew by additional 5%. And by the end of 2021, it grew from 2020 to 2021 by 10%. See, because those of us who are in the profession, this is what we look at if I'm looking at a board or a company's books. I'm trying to say, where are you trending towards? Okay? 2022 has been the only year where you see a decline so far. And that's why I'm really pushing and asking that we try to make sure we are able to rake in so much in our convention donations tomorrow, Sunday. Now, 2022 so far, by the end of August, we were down by 24% compared to where we ended up December 2021. So that's because we've given $40,250 for legal fees. That's why I don't like my friend who go around fees. Okay, it's lawyers, they just pay so much money. I mean, if they send you an email, they send you an invoice. I can't do that. I wish I could. So that's where we stand from administration's financial scoreboard. I want to just list out on the next slide what we've been able to complete. Like I said, the association has a history of accounting records for 5 years. Okay? By month, you have the bank account reconciled. You have the details. This is not somebody just looking up at the ceiling and giving you numbers. We can give you those details to the last penny. And so it's going to be easy for whoever is incoming as a financial secretary to continue from where we stopped, like Chief Urhobo was just saying. Now, I'm also aware that the BOT has been getting quarterly financial reports as requested by the Constitution from the Treasurer. So that's a good thing. The tax returns have always been timely filed. I always send the tax returns to the BOT chair to review because I need him to sign it before I transmit it. He will be getting it soon for 2021 tax year so that it will be filed. We did inherit some tax issues from the past administration that we were not aware of. But that again were issues that, as a practicing CPA, my office took care of. It cost some of my staff lots of hours. It ran over 3 years to fix that. I had to request the Freedom of Information file of this association to see exactly what was going on because nobody was telling me what happened. So it took the IRS sending me that CD for me to see all what happened and fix it. Okay? So all of those problems are behind us. And within this administration, we have the financial records of 2018 as part of the audit that was done internally. And then lastly, the court did say in one of his judgments that there was not a likelihood of any fraud or abuse from what the judge could see in front of him. And I take that as a vindication of this administration and my president. So I only have one work in progress right now, and I promised my former lecturer I was going to deliver on that, which is the policies and procedures manual. It's one thing to have a constitution. A constitution is like a freeway. A freeway does not tell you how fast you can drive on that road. It does not give you all the details. What this association has really lacked is a working manual. Some of the challenges we've had is because our constitution no constitution gives you all the details to do what you need to do. Every year we see that new bills, acts are passed. They are not in the Constitution, but the Constitution only says how to pass an act. So, as the chair of the Policies and Procedures Subcommittee, I took an executive decision to put our work on hold because when all of these legal wranglings were going on, I wanted to see some of what was going to come out of it. And I'm happy we did what we did because I've looked through the court judgments. I've looked through what the insurance company, just so we all know, we now have a directors and officers insurance. Now, that is a major thing because if the association had that policy in the past, we may not have been spending all of this 50,000 we've spent in the last 3 years fighting this law case. But when the policy was being applied for, which I know my wife worked on, I was really shocked to see what the insurance company was asking for. So that will be all. It's been my pleasure to serve as the Financial Secretary this long. I did put an email address here. If you have questions, please ask. Otherwise, I will email this to the BOT chair and have a great convention. Questions?
The figure went up.
So
what is the reason why we say there are legal expenses? We don't know when will this come to an end. That is my question. When will the case come to an end? Or do we have to find another lawyer to handle this case?
Thank you. So,
the cheapest that we got at that time. So that is why that lawyer was retained. So that is the short answer to that question with respect to the legal fees. Now, regarding when the case will end, we don't know. It can end tomorrow if those people who are in court, the plaintiffs, the individuals that took Uber to court, if they stop by Tuesday, the case will end. But if they don't stop, there is what we call a scheduling order for the case in Houston. The trial date is sometime in May 2023, right, if I get that correctly. May 2023. So that is the trial date. You get the trial, you go over the witnesses, and the judge will, adjourn or continue the case for a decision. And we do not know what time that will be after May 2023. Then for the case in Missouri, the trial is actually on Tuesday. So most of us are going to be leaving our jobs, our source of livelihood, clearing our table, to actually be in court as witnesses in that case. In fact, if you tabulate what it costs, the voluntary hours it costs members of this association that are involved in that case, preparation, delivering documents, and so on and so forth, phone calls, it is more than $40,000. I charge $350 per hour. And if I tell you the billable hours I've put in that Houston case alone, it's more than $40,000. Shibukoro can attest to that on how the legal profession operates. So thank you very much. Do I answer that question?
Can I add something?
Okay, hold on.
Urhobo, I think you have spoken very well about the matter. But for the Houston man, I live in Houston. I hear it from time to time. Now that the president and the executive are going to be handing over maybe in December, what I'm going to hear next from the Houston lawsuit is that the case has become moot. Because the person you guys are fighting, that she should leave office, has left office. So that case is probably going to moot. So I don't expect much money apart from little money to maintain the new lawyer we have there, who is also a Nigerian, who understands these things and knows a lot less cheaper than the first one. So let us not be frantic. I expect success, particularly in the case of Houston. In Chile.
Shuffle the program so that the financial secretary can do the presentation that I just ended. So give us a few seconds here to announce what we're going to do next. Thank you. Come to tell us from his office what has been since he took the position as board of trustees, or since last year, whatever floats your boat, Dr. Damira. But it's your turn to give your presentation.
First, let me thank our Urhobo Financial Secretary. So I want to first express our gratitude to our financial secretary. He's a marvelous guy. He said I was a lecturer at French. What he didn't tell me that I was one of the best students I ever had.
be hiding the money.
What I didn't tell you is that he's a classmate to my wife. They are in the same elementary school. And he was so brilliant. When he was in class 5, he was promoted. He got double promoted. He got class 6, class 6. He got scholarship. So he left my wife. Who had to go to class 6. So I'm so happy for him. And I know that my sister, congratulations. Okay. So I'm here to briefly present the report of the BOT. The Board of Trustees is made up of the presidents of the chapters we have. Currently we have 20 chapters. So all the presidents of the chapters are members of the Board of Trustees. From amongst ourselves, we choose one to be the chairman. And the chairperson is there for 2 years and can be re-elected for another year, another term of 2 years. We've been the chair of the board for 3 years and 8 months. And my tenure will end December this year. And yesterday we had an election and we had a successor already. So Noja, she's going to be taking over from me. She was unopposed. Because she's done a very bad job. And before that, she was the deputy DOT chair. And she's been very, very good. Okay, so let me go to our scorecard, I will say. The past 3 years have been difficult for us, you know. It's been difficult. So let me first start with the court cases test, which has actually inhibited our ability. When we came into office, we had a plan, a lofty goals, to make UPWA the best ethnic organization in North America. So we had a plan to grow the association, to double the number of chapters and membership, and to improve our financial position. To some extent, we have tried our possible best, and I think we've done very has shown, to make UPWA a transparent and accountable institution organization. The financial secretary has demonstrated that. But the court cases was a major stumbling block for 3 of those 4 years we've been in office. We first had COVID, and in fact the cases are not hold because of misunderstanding within the Houston chapter. And the hotel security people came and asked us to leave. And in that process, the chairman of the INEC electoral committee, because there was evidence that the ballot box had been snatched and returned. In our constitution, we can only have election during the annual convention. So that meant that we would have had to wait the next year, 2020, to have a convention. And that would mean that we have had a leadership vacuum. Now, the BOT has a responsibility to ensure good governance for the association. So we quickly met and invited some of our older members, former presidents, to be observers. And we considered 3 options on how to move the association forward. And of all the 3 options we considered, the majority of members, 70%, voted that the best option would be to allow the current executive, under the leadership of Dr. Deman, to continue in office for 1 more year. The other two options were a no-go, because none of these options was then in the Constitution, because our Constitution did not envisage a situation